Quite a unique looking keyboard, but for 150 bucks, is this uniqueness worth that kind of price tag? I'm Rio Gion and welcome to the channel. Definitely a lot of space that seems unnecessary, but maybe there's a point to all of this extra space. I like the font, it's very professional looking, and this keyboard is actually very professional looking if you don't turn on the RGB. The layout is standard, so you don't like the keycaps, then you can just find lots of aftermarket keycaps to replace it with. There is a dedicated volume scroll wheel and volume toggles, which are nice, but the media functions are bound to the F keys, so you win some, you lose some. The keycaps themselves do look a bit busy, especially when you get the home and group of keys. I think they can cut out the space and it could be a somewhat more compact keyboard. It was an interesting move to put the LED indicators on the bottom, but the downside is that you'll never notice them. Like, you have to really think about it when you look at the keyboard, but with small little glances you're just gonna miss those indicators. This is probably like nitpicking, but it's something that I notice when I use this keyboard. I like the aluminum finish and I like the floating key design. It makes the keyboard look different and very premium. So if you need to somehow justify paying this higher price tag, this is it. If they didn't make so much space, then I think this would have been a home run in terms of the front. This keyboard rocks their in-house Titan switch, which has an actuation point of 1.8mm and a 3.6mm travel distance. The switch does have a tactile bump, so it's short. It's like slightly faster brown switch. The light is on the PCB, which is awesome because then I don't have to feel like I'm hitting the lights when I'm pressing on the keys. In terms of longevity, I don't see a rating, so it's probably safe to assume that it would last longer than you do, unless you do something that's very different from others when you're using the keyboard. If this is a concerning factor, then I would say go for something else. However, if you think that all of the mechanical rating systems are BS, then by all means, cause let's be honest here, 50 million, 100 million, 100 million, 2,000 million, come on guys, let's just get real here. The keycaps is definitely one of the selling points for this keyboard. They feel very light, they look very typewriter-esque, like just how flat they are. These are made from the same thin ABS plastic, and this time I think it's pretty much the only way they can do something like this. So I'm gonna give the keycaps a pass. If you're paying the full $150, then just know that the keycaps are part of that premium because you are getting a pretty unique looking keyboard. So if this is worth it to you, I say go for it. If you don't like the keycaps and you like the switch, then you can always replace the keycaps, but just know that that's just more money. There are several rubber pieces to keep the keyboard in place, and the flip up feet does have rubber on them, so the keyboard will be planted at both angles. The one thing that I noticed when picking up the keyboard is that it's very light, which is nice because heavy should not equal premium. I know that some people may think that if something is heavy then it's expensive, but this is a premium light feeling keyboard, so this is something that you're gonna have to deal with. There are cable management Velcro, and you get a braided cable and silver tip USB, so depending on who you are, you might like this combination or you might hate it. When it comes to the software, this is alright because I like the themes that comes preloaded, but you don't get layers of lighting effect like Corsair or Razer. I feel like at some point in my keyboard reviewing career, someone's gonna ask me, does layer of lighting effects really matter? I would say yes, because it's an additional feature, and honestly I think it should be standard in all keyboards with RGB lighting, but that's not here nor there. In terms of the UX and the UI, the software is user friendly and I can pretty much do what I want without having to look up something. One of the features that I like about this keyboard is the AIMO intelligent lighting, where it auto changes lighting effects, and this is perfect for someone who just want to set it and forget it. It's a great way to show off the keyboards to your friends when they come over. One last nitpick is that whenever you set a lighting effect, you're gonna have to hit apply to make the change and hit OK to approve the change. I think this is something that a software patch can easily fix this, so it should not be a deal breaker. I surprisingly enjoy typing on this keyboard. I would not say it's love at first type, but I do come up with excuses to type on it. The Titan switch is very similar to the Brown switch because there is a tactile bump when pressing and is silent. In terms of fast speed, I would say it's either on par with the Brown switch, maybe a little bit faster, but I would need to have the Brown switch keyboard to do a direct comparison. In terms of travel, I do like feeling that I'm flying through the keyboard, but I do slip on the way based on how the keycaps are designed. However, with time, I do think this is something that I can get over with. Overall, I do like the switch, and I think it's a great switch for those considering getting into mechanical keyboards. Here's what the keyboard sounds like. For $150, I do think this keyboard is overpriced. I would not recommend you getting this keyboard at this price because you can step up to something like an optical switch keyboard. To me, I feel like the optical switch keyboard is moving up the food chain, but I know that others might not think so. So besides that, with $150, you can get an RGB from one of the big three, Logitech, Razer, Corsair, or if you want something that the community loves, you can always try out the glorious mechanical keyboard. All of which I will link in the description down below. Anyways, if you made it this far and you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell to become part of the mighty notification squad. As always, you guys stay awesome.